about Welcome Mats, the podcast where we talk mental health, addiction, recovery, and the messy, beautiful, sometimes disastrous process of rebuilding a life. I'm Mandy, and I'm a person in recovery. I'm also a counselor, a podcast host, a content creator, a disappointing friend on some days of the week, and I have for sure been the human equivalent of a welcome mat, burned out, walked on, and wondering, how did I get here? First episode is going to be just you and me. I'm sure you're terrified. I want to share a little bit about who I am, what this show is about, and why it might be exactly just the thing you didn't know you needed. Let's start with the part that matters the most. I'm in recovery. For me, that means I have returned to a healthier place of mind, body, and soul. I've done the therapy. I've been to the meetings. I've had the breakthroughs. I've had the breakdowns. I've had the comebacks. I've done the ugly cries in the Target parking lot and behind the dumpster of the Chinese restaurant. I am a person diagnosed with substance use disorder. I am a person in recovery from codependency. I am a person that lives with anxiety and depression, and I live happy today. I was raised in a traditional Christian home with two parents. I was raised in the church. I went to a Christian school. I was very sheltered. I did not know much about substance use disorder other than what I learned in 8th grade with drug education, and it was not a reality for me. The underlying theme of my life was low self-confidence, not feeling comfortable in the skin that I was in, wanting to be like everyone else, looking all around me and figuring out who I could more mirror. Because I was unhappy with what I looked like, what I sounded like, the information in my brain. I just didn't like me. And that theme carried on through my teenage years until my father left at age 15. And unfortunately, my mother experienced a mental health crisis as was unable to be the disciplinarian that I needed at that time in my life. And I don't blame any of that. When a teenager is growing, their hormones are going everywhere and they are pushing the limits. They are pushing the boundaries and they are trying to see what they can get away with. Unfortunately, in those crucial years, 15, 16, 17, I was expanding out of my private school circle of friends and into more public school folks that were already utilizing substances. So this opened me up to the world of, if you do drugs, you are accepted, you are welcomed, you are popular. So I formulated a group of friends and people, acquaintances, if you want to call them, that were using substances. And that is pretty much all she wrote. It started with marijuana, graduated into cocaine, and down the road and so on. When I graduated, I had no plan other than to pick up my entire life and move to Florida with my best friend. And keep in mind, I had no job, just my car and the belongings within my car. So I continued to party and my substance use continued to escalate. When I was a junior in college, living in Florida, I was introduced to an opiate medication for a legitimate injury, and my little gateway substances graduated into a longing and desire for opiates. And I will never be able to express what it was like when I consumed an opiate for the first time. It was like something in my brain clicked. This is the one. This is the thing that takes away all the pain. This is the thing that makes me not feel. And it was over from there, ladies and gentlemen. I proceeded to struggle with prescription medication, pills. Over the next 2 years, I was using extremely heavily, and I ended up graduating from college by the grace of God, gave birth to my eldest child, got married, and continued to be able to maintain. However, as we know, substance use disorder generally is progressive, incurable, and fatal if not arrested. So I moved back to Pennsylvania from Florida, believing that that would be the savior and the answer to all of my problems and all of my life issues, because I would just run away. Well, that didn't do it. To Pennsylvania, I was in closer proximity to the Hayron capital of the world, Baltimore, Maryland, and that soon became my reality, is driving back and forth daily to secure heroin. And I went from a nasal user to an IV user very quickly. And the next 5 or so years of my life are a blur. Jails, institutions, and you know the rest. I did not go to rehab. My degree was in substance use and criminology. And I thought, I'm not going to go to rehab because those people cannot tell me anything when all they learned is out of a textbook. That's what I thought. And that's what I told myself. So every time I would be released from jail or an institution, I would return right back to the same people that led me down the path. There was never an idea of recovery. I was never introduced to a recovery program or a 12-step or any type of recovery program. I just went right back to the same. And as we know, over years, the misery, the sadness, the hurt grows. And we are also exposed to more trauma. So much so that our reality becomes too painful to exist in. The end of that road was utilizing a substance that I was thinking was my DOC, and it actually was not. There was, or it was, the drug crocodile, from Russia. Of course, I'm sure this was made in the United States. I have no idea. But my forearms were eaten down to the bone. Horrifying. So for 10 months, I let my arms rot down to the bone. And at the end of all that, I was called in to parole for a checkup. And of course, I failed every test. And I was put in fancy silver bracelets and put in the back of the squad car. And once I arrived at the local county jail, they realized how much in danger I was and that I needed to be seen in a hospital. From there, I was hospitalized for 6 days, shackled to the bed in a medically induced coma while they did work on my forearms, attempting to save them, because you can imagine after that long, they were in bad shape. And that was my saving grace. The short story there is incarceration in the next state and next county on a detainer. And when I got out, I had nothing left. Nothing. It was time to go to rehab. So I called the local 1-800 get help now or PA help now or something to that effect. And I was in rehab within 3 days. Long-term rehab, long-term halfway house, and it saved my life. That was the beginning for me. So over the past 8 years, it's been rocky. It has not been perfect. I learned about 12-step, Narcotics Anonymous in the halfway house, and that became a part of my saving grace. The steps and the people and the journey became a part of my saving grace. I probably would not be here today if it was not for that program, for me, for my life. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I have also endured just as many, if not more, crises, clean and sober, than I did while I was using. I have been able to be present for the people in my life. I have been able to work in a dream field. I have been able to clear the family humiliation, the public humiliation. I have been able to grow as a person and utilize spiritual principles and alleviate character defects and work on my wrongdoings and amends. The life I live today is beautiful, even the bad days. And however beautiful, it has not always been a cakewalk. It has not. I have failed miserably in multiple areas, but I pick myself up and I keep going. And I'm sure throughout this pod, I will touch on some of those ways that I have fallen short. But I'd like to consider myself a child, just learning how to live again. And the reality is I wake up every day today grateful and thankful for this chance, this second chance at life. I don't take my days for granted. It's been a rocky past 2 years for me, trying to maintain, trying to get back to basics and remember where I came from. I've made some crucial mistakes. I continue to learn daily, and I have people in my life to guide me to learn daily. The beautiful thing about recovery is that you never stop learning. I can never cease gaining knowledge and trying to be better. It's not a poster. It's not a feel-good Facebook reel or Instagram reel. But as I stated, the feel-good, happy, memorable moments far outweigh today the nastiness that I went through for 15 plus years in addiction. My goal and my hope is to influence others to reach your full potential, to never stop trying, to never believe you are a lost cause, to never give up. You might not know what your purpose is today. You may feel lost. It may feel like Groundhog Day every single day you open your eyes. But there is a purpose on this planet for you. It's not just going to appear in front of you. You have to go and chase it. You have to do the things that are embarrassing, the things that are uncomfortable, the things that make you pull and tug at your innermost being. Those are the things you have to do. And you have to stop caring what everyone else thinks. Because your identity, your future, your purpose has nothing to do with what everyone else thinks. I named this podcast Worn Out Welcome Mats because that's what I felt like. Tired, worn out, trampled, exhausted, but also scared to imagine anything different. Recovery gave me the courage to imagine more. Recovery and my higher power, God, gave me the courage to imagine a life that is so much more. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about passion. It's about hope. And it's about reaching back to the person behind me and giving them a hand. I've had dreams for a long time. I've known what some of my talents and gifts were for a long time. However, there was always something holding me back. Whether that was public perception, whether that was timing, whether that was not believing in myself or my abilities, I have waited for too long. I am sleeping on the gifts that I've been given. And sometimes at this point, it feels like God is just screaming in my ear, what are you waiting for? You are not getting any younger. You are messing around with the gifts I've given you. You are sleeping on those gifts and me, him, because you are worried about what could go wrong. But what are you waiting for, folks? You are not getting any younger. Those dreams that you're sleeping on, those goals that you have, you can wait around forever for the perfect time. What is the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could go wrong with attempting to live my dream? I fail miserably. In what way? People laugh. It doesn't catch on. People delete me. Oh well, wouldn't be the first time. And I will still keep trucking and getting up every day and living the second chance at life that I've been given. So here's what you can expect from Worn Out Welcome Mats. Real stories from real people who've experienced real challenges, whether that be addiction, mental health, turmoil. We'll have interviews with people who've lived it, people who are in recovery, people who work in the treatment field, writers, artists, therapists, anyone with something to say about the topic. Who knows? We may even have a guest host along the way. I'll probably throw in some headlines and news because recovery doesn't happen in a vacuum. And we'll add some humor in there because haven't we cried enough already? Stepping out into the unknown can be extremely scary. There can be stops and starts along the way. There can be failed dreams, failed goals, restarts, do-overs. Life is not a straight line, and it hasn't been a straight line for me. My passion has always been to educate others and give folks a voice, to empower them and remind them that they have something magical to share with the world. Am I uncomfortable at times? Absolutely. Whether I look it or not, living in my truth has been embarrassing at times. Some of the folks along this journey may still be struggling. Some of them have been in recovery for a long time. Some of them may not necessarily label themselves recovered. Some may have found peace, and some may still be mad. That's okay. This journey doesn't come wrapped up in a bow. That's not what I'm trying to portray. I'm trying to portray the in-between, the messiness, the beauty of the journey of starting over and trying. This is the story where people relapse, get back up, cry in the grocery store, fail, quit therapy, start over, and just keep trying anyway. I started Worn Out Welcome Mats for a lot of reasons. It's been a dream for a long time. But one of those reasons is that I got really tired of recovery stories being like a corny before and after commercial. What about the middle? What about the growth portion? What about all those stop starts? What about all the times I asked for advice and proceeded to do the exact opposite thing? What about the times when my therapist said, you need to work on this, and I refused to acknowledge it? What about the times when I phoned a friend, or 90, and didn't listen to any of their advice? What about the times that someone got to say, I told you so? That part, the messiness, the rawness, I'm going to fake delete my therapist's number because I'm tired of being told what to do. I want to do what I want to do. Recovery is not a corny commercial. It's not a feel-good story. And whatever you're recovering from, the beauty is in the meat. The beauty is in the middle. You're healing, but you're also quite a bit still unhinged. This is about realizing that you're not alone. There are others that are going through exactly the same thing. When we lay our heads down on the pillow at night, we run through those same thoughts and have those same emotions. I hope you'll come along and take this ride with me. So that's what this show is about. Real people, real stories, no shame, no filters, just getting down to the nitty-gritty. Next week will be my first show interviewing a guest, and trust me, you are not going to want to miss this story. I really hope if you found something in this episode you liked, you'll share it with someone. Or don't. I'm not your mom, but it does help others find it. Make sure you connect with me on social media platforms. Like this video, follow. You don't want to miss an episode. Put those notifications on. And I will see you guys on the next episode of WOWM.